Hey, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Really do appreciate it. Hope you're having a fantastic day. As always, shout out to the 19. So, we have an interesting clip here. So, I just find this it's absolutely fascinating. You can also say it's a little frustrating, but it's definitely fascinating with everything that's going on in the WNBA. This is a bit from an interview with Rich Eisen and Renee Montgomery. If you don't remember Renee, she is one of the owners of the Atlanta Dream, and not all that long ago, she had some interesting things to say about y'all. Okay, she really did, and we're going to talk about that a little bit as well because it plays into this video too. But before we get to it, let me say this. You have an idea of what we're about to listen to when I say the mainstream sports media, and of course, those involved in the WNBA, like Renee, simply can't do it. They can't do it. Now, to be fair, there have been a rare few who do get it, understand why the WNBA is in the position it's in, and they're perfectly willing to say so. But most, 99% or so, they want to drive this narrative that all of this is not the Caitlin Clark effect. And that's what I mean when I say they simply can't do it. They cannot acknowledge that, hey, this is Caitlin Clark's doing. It is the fans that Caitlin Clark got at Iowa moving on to the WNBA. And so we're going to dig in to this a little bit. I am going to stop it a couple of times just because there's a lot here. I want to make sure I get to what I want to cover. So I want to play the question, and the question itself is fascinating on this topic. So I'm going to listen to the question before we get to Renee's answer. I have a couple things I want to say about it as well. So let's go ahead and dig in with Rich Eisen talking to Renee Montgomery.
So let me ask you this question, because I think I'm very proud of myself. 10 minutes in, and I haven't mentioned the name Caitlin Clark yet. So how much from ownership was there a Caitlin Clark effect? Was it truly real? Bottom line, and obviously there were many talented rookies that came in this year.
Yeah.
But I'll just throw her name out in particular, since that's one that obviously is on a lot of people's minds.
Okay, before we get to Renee's answer, I mean, how ridiculous this is. Just listen to Richie Cunningham, sorry, Rich Eisen. Listen how he frames the question. First of all, you're talking about the WNBA. You have one of the owners that, by the way, set an attendance record for that franchise because of Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever and their fans showing out at away games. And he's apologizing right off the bat. The man starts with an apology. When you're talking to a WNBA owner, starts out with an apology for mentioning Caitlin Clark and pats himself on the back for not doing it until you're 10 minutes into the interview, basically completely downplaying Caitlin Clark's effect on the WNBA in terms of league attendance and TV ratings and just overall interest in the league. And he talks about, oh, well, yeah, and there's all these other rookies too. But there are some people that are talking about Caitlin Clark. So I'm going to ask about the Caitlin Clark effect, despite the fact that Caitlin Clark has the 14 most viewed games in the WNBA for TV ratings, something like 23 of the top 26. The 20 plus 1 million viewership games or something like that. There hasn't been a single game with 1 million viewers since 2008, and I think there was only one that year. And the man is apologizing about even mentioning her and talking about other rookies. All right, so let's let Renee get into her answer a little bit.
Renee.
Yes, I think there's a real effect there. I think that this draft class led by Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, there's a real demand. There's a real following. There are fans that are online, and there's also fans that are following and at the games and wearing jerseys. And there is a real connect there. Like, I even just coming in and seeing the amount of new fans that we have this year, I think that Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, they will have forever changed. They're that crossover group. For a long time, we've known that women's college basketball is probably one of the highest peaks you can be at, whether it's viewership, whether it's how you're treated, whether it's fan attendance. Women's college basketball has always been at the top echelon. And so now we were always waiting on that group that carried over the women's college basketball fandom to the WNBA. Like, why?
Okay. She's saying a lot. She talks as fast as I do, so I got to give her props for that, even though I'm not a fan of Renee Montgomery. So, okay, let's start off with this. Little Renee, owner of the Atlanta Dream, by the way, who helped force out the actual Dream owner because that owner wanted the team and the franchise to focus on basketball and not activism. And a lot of people were there very unhappy about that and forced the owner to sell. And Renee, who was a player in the WNBA, this is not someone who's like a self-made multi-millionaire from the tech industry or something. I don't know. She kind of weaseled her way into a ownership stake in the Atlanta Dream. I don't think it's going to last. I think the grown-up fans have arrived and they're here to clean up the league. They're here to sweep out all the nonsense, get rid of the entitlement, get rid of the victimhood stances, and make it about the product, which is the basketball play on the court. They need to improve that. They want to put out a good product, period. So, anyway, but as you heard, as Renee starts her answer, she says yes, but she does not acknowledge that it's the Caitlin Clark effect. She goes right into that word disease most in the WNBA and sports media suffer from, that derangement syndrome. That's a popular phrase out there, right? It's Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. It's one word to them now. It cannot be separated. There is no Caitlin Clark to them without Angel Reese. All the attendance and the viewership in the WA and the WNBA. I want you to know that's about me too. And I want you all to know that, okay? Me too. Me too, folks. Do you understand what I am telling you? Me too. In fact, the second time she even said it, she's like, man, you know what? That left a bad taste in my mouth. I can't say Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. I got to switch it up. It's Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. Oh, man, it's so embarrassing. But and then this idea that it is women's college basketball has always been at the top echelon of what, again, trying to downplay Caitlin Clark. College basketball has always been this huge draw. And I'm not knocking college women's basketball. I like college women's basketball better than the WNBA, folks. But what I'm saying is what she's using it and wording this in a way to, again, downplay the Caitlin Clark effect by saying, well, college basketball has always had these huge fans. We've always been up at the top. And for some strange reason, we just couldn't get those big-time, rabid college basketball fans to tune into WNBA games. Show me the numbers, Renee. Now, I've seen huge numbers. And they were during the Caitlin Clark era. Okay, so anyway, let's. I got a little more to say about that, but let's hear a little bit more what Renee has to say.
Why was there a disconnect? Why was there super, super strong Tennessee Vol fans and super strong UConn fans, and then they carry over to the pros, but sometimes they'll hit us up and be like, hey, oh, you were my favorite player. Where are you playing at again? Because there's that disconnect between WNBA and college. With Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, I've just seen that carryover has happened. Not just their LSU fans, but the fans that are interested in the college drama, the college matchups, the college everything. Those same fans are excited and interested in these WNBA matchups. That's what's new. We've always had a fan base when it came to women's college basketball. It's just it wasn't carrying over. It is now.
What about?
All right, no, hold on, Rich. I gotta dig into that because again, first of all, she's talking about different teams and Tennessee Volunteers and all this stuff, folks, and all of you who are sports fans. I know you know this. I would think Renee would know this, but maybe I'm giving her too much credit. College sports and pro sports are not the same thing. And yes, I get there is a lot of crossover, okay? But I also know plenty of people that are big time rabid college sports fans that are never going to miss, their schools, their teams' basketball games, never going to miss their team's football games. And they don't necessarily really watch the pros or not even their favorite college players that are now in the pros. Now they might catch a game here or there. They like football, but I have plenty of people who say they love college football, don't watch the NFL. They love college basketball, don't watch the NBA. Now again, yes, there's crossover. I get it. But this idea of it's just some weird random event that happens that prevents college women's basketball fans from watching the WNBA is absolute nonsense. And by the way, did you notice when she talked about Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese there, and their fans now coming over and all. She only specifically mentioned LSU, not just their LSU fans. Um, I'm not saying LSU didn't have some big ratings when Angel Reese was there, but has Renee checked out who got the biggest ratings by far in college basketball? It was Caitlin Clark and Iowa. It was the Hawkeyes. It was Caitlin Clark and Iowa who played outdoors in front of 55 freaking thousand people. Renee, you're going to give me an aneurysm. Oh my goodness. Who sells out all their merch immediately, if not freaking sooner? Again, that's Caitlin Clark. Okay. So anyway, let's let Renee dig a little deeper.
The bad blood too, right? I mean, the fact that it's carried over, and there's a visceral aspect of this as well that I think plays, and definitely brings a level of interest. Renee.
Yeah,
sure.
I said it on my podcast, Montgomery and Company, that we love.
Oh, Renee, we're going to talk about your podcast, Renee. Don't worry.
When fans are all in. Like, there's nothing wrong with a fan hating the opposing team's favorite player. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, there's no issue. It's how you go about hating. You can say, like, LeBron James, you're the worst. You can say whatever you want. But if you start to have a racist tone to how you hate, that's when you got a problem. But I love a good fan that can't sleep after the team loses. I love a fan that's so far in that they got their own superstitions that they make sure so that they don't make their team lose. I love that level of rivalry and hate, and the Lakers, Celtics, if it's the bad blood. But we just got to make sure that we keep the hate in line of sports hate. Don't let it fall over into racism. Don't let it fall over and just make it something different than it is. You can hate a favorite player, just we got to keep it within the parameters. So yeah, there is some other stuff happening that of course we don't want in the game, but don't get it twisted that we love a good matchup. We love a good rivalry. The sports junkies, we're here for that, but just we want to keep it in the right frame.
No doubt.
Never hear this talked about in any other sports, of course. And by the way, and I'm going to get to it, I'm going to show you. We're going to hear from Renee herself, who she's talking about. I feel like somebody got to Renee, someone, maybe the commissioner behind the scenes, someone WA say, hey, you know what? That podcast episode you did got a lot of attention. Can you tone it down a little bit? Here are some ways you can say it to make your same point about how much you hate Caitlin Clark's fans. But so it's a little more palatable for the person who's not really thinking too deeply about what you're saying. Because look, if the WNBA had a commissioner with any spine at all, and it does not, Kathy Engelbert has been terrible. She's absolutely terrified at the activists in the league, like Renee. But if she weren't, if you had a legit commissioner, you would have seen a hefty fine for the things Renee said on that podcast as an owner in the league. And don't worry, we're going to play a couple of clips from it. But just to be clear, that skin tanning issue she's talking about, yeah, she's talking about you, Caitlin Clark fans. You're the problem. No, really, she said so. And of course, what's that other stuff she's referring to at the end? She won't say it all. Now, I wonder, hey, maybe I'm not giving her enough credit. Maybe, of course, she's talking about all the nasty stuff that Dejanay Carrington said and the things she put out toward the Fever fan base, or Alyssa Thomas and her nonsense that she spewed in the press conference after the first round for the Connecticut Sun against the Fever in the playoffs. Or maybe it's the nasty, despicable stuff that so many Angel Reese fans have spewed toward not just Caitlin Clark fans, Marina Mabry fans, other teammates. Oh, and I just completely blanked what now was one of them. Was it Isabel Harrison was one? I think maybe Dana Evans was another one. I know I tweeted out that I didn't feel that Angel Reese was actually a very good athlete. I wasn't mean to her, or was nothing personal. I just said she wasn't a very good athlete because I don't think she moves well. The things that you attribute to athleticism, she doesn't have. She's not explosive, right? She doesn't accelerate quickly. She doesn't change direction well. Her agility is not that good. She's not very quick. She has no vertical leap at all. clearly by her layup, she does not have very good hand-eye coordination. Now, obviously, everyone, I'm judging this on the level of where she's playing. I'm sure compared to, the kids in the neighborhood, her athleticism is top tier, but we've got to compare it to where she's playing, which is the WNBA. And anyway, so the response I got from one Angel Reese fan, just for saying I didn't think she was that athletic and having that opinion, was a physical threat of violence against me. By the way, for those who don't know, that's where the 19 came from, because after that, then they came back and thought, with their epic maturity level, that they would say that my videos only get views from my 19 cousins. So that's where that came from. For those who don't know yet, the 19 is a shout out to all of you who do support the channel. I appreciate it as always. And don't forget, again, this is the woman, the owner of the Atlanta Dream, right? She hates you, but she was very happy to move Fever Games to a much larger arena and welcome a record-setting 17,000 plus people when a normal Dream game brings in 3 or 4,000, right? Let's see if we can check this out, right? See this all the way at the bottom, Atlanta Dream, average 4,700, which of course is up a lot because of the numbers that they got with the Caitlin Clark games. So anyway, I want to play two. I don't want to do all of this because I did a pretty long video on it. You can see this one was 21 minutes plus, but I just want to play a couple of short clips as a reminder, like when she referred to her podcast, of the things that she has said previously, so you have an understanding of where it is I'm coming from. And people loved this video, so I think it hit home for all of you to be exposed to this nonsense. So let's dig into a couple of clips I have set up for you.
Group cannot be a representation of what the WNBA would want in their league. This is our league. This was built, like, I feel like, as a women's basketball historian myself, I've been watching since I was 5. I was here before the league started, as a lot of the fans on social media feel the same.
It is, wow, that timed well. It's their league, folks. Do you understand what she's saying? It is their league, and they don't want you. And then, of course, she goes on to explain, give her credentials. She has been a fan longer than you, folks. She does not want you there. And we're going to play this other clip to dig in. But I wanted you, right? You are not what she wants representation of the WNBA to be. She doesn't want it to change. She wants it to be unsuccessful, to lose tens of millions of dollars, and to get supported by her sugar daddy, the NBA. That's what really cracks me up about all these activists in the WNBA spouting all their nonsense when they are perfectly comfortable to be living off their sugar daddy. They haven't earned a penny. They're living off daddy's money, and they're perfectly okay with that. But I'm going to play one more clip for you just to hammer it home.
That ain't a representation of us. Y'all not like us. They not like us, okay?
Got that, folks? You do not represent them. You are not like them. She does not want you here. Now, as you can see with the Rich Eisen clip, when she goes on to real media, like I said, I feel like someone might have had a talk with her about, hey, I get how you feel, so maybe here's how you say it to kind of get your point across to the people that are listening without making us look so damn bad, entitled, and pathetic. Absolutely ridiculous. So I don't even know what else to say about Renee at this point. I had some other stuff I wanted to get into, but this is getting kind of long, so maybe we'll dig into that in another video on another day. But it's fascinating to see how they cannot bring themselves to give credit to Caitlin Clark or to give credit to Caitlin Clark's fans for the explosive growth of the WNBA this year. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for checking out this video. I really do appreciate it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really, really does help out a lot. Just smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. It only takes a second or two. It's free, and it really, really does help, and I appreciate it. And I will talk to you later. Peace.